going to put Laura from
Hello.
England. Hello, Laura.
Hello, Johnny. How are you?
I'm all right, Laura. And you're here with JMike too. You sound chipper today.
No. Sorry?
You sound chipper. How goes it?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I've got bipolar type 2. I'm sorry if I'm a little, I've got mental health things, but am I all right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying you sound upbeat, and that's a good thing. It's nice to feel good.
Oh, yeah. I'm on one of my high episodes.
Well, enjoy it while it lasts, I guess. Laura, you've got a question here. What can...
being suicidal.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that. What can we do activism-wise to get laws in place to stop childhood religious indoctrination is the question, right?
Yeah, Johnny, I know I've seen you on other shows and you're quite good with politics. So I'm asking what could all atheists be doing, contacting MPs, getting laws in place, how do we go about it and do activism and break the cycle of childhood indoctrination and try to make it mandatory for evolution to be taught in all schools, including faith schools. And, how can we get together and get laws in place to help change the world?
What can we do? Well, that is the subject of that we cover frequently on the nonprofits. Not live at 3 p.m. Central Time, right after this show, where religion and skepticism and humanism interact in the real world that we live in. I think that what can we do? I think the first thing we can do is to educate ourselves and educate our friends and family and learn a lot about the world that we live in. Because I don't think that what we're going to do is by fiat push people into deconverting themselves away from religion. I think what we need to do is be an example in the society that we live in, as an example of reason, of compassion, of just get it doneness, and make sure that our voices are heard. Organize into communities, like-minded communities, where we foster skepticism and humanism, and we take care of each other. That we show compassion to people that disagree with us, right? And that we destigmatize the mark of being an atheist or a humanist, because they're still out there. I mean, he's an atheist. That means he eats babies for a living somehow. It's not true. We care about stuff. Make it a good name. Make sure that you write your representatives, email, call your representatives, speak to them on issues that you care about, so that your voice is heard and they know that when you call them, you've got people behind you, because politicians care about getting reelected and about society as well. But they care about getting reelected so they can help society out. They just disagree with us on some issues. Lots of them do. I think also taking steps to make sure that the laws that are in place are actually enforced. For example,
how do we push the laws and get laws changed and put things in place?
Well, there are organizations like the Freedom from Religion Foundation that will file lawsuits. So they'll write letters and they'll file lawsuits when there's prayer in school or monuments on various Capitol grounds. And I think that's great work. But I think there are systemic issues that need to take place in government that gives favorable treatment to religious organizations. But I think also societally, the way we interact with each other, it's still a dirty word to be an atheist. And I think trying to dial that down and humanize it so that we can join with others like-minded. A lot of people, a lot of religious people are against that church-state merging, right? These Christian nationalists, a lot of Christians, a lot of Muslims.
Separation between church and state.
Yeah, a lot of people who believe don't want the government in their religion. And we don't want their religion in our government. We can work together on things like that. And there's some low-hanging fruit, and we need to always be pushing forward to that. And I think that as the numbers continue, as we get the message out that you don't have to believe all kinds of stuff, our numbers will grow, and we can start electing people who don't cater to the religious majority as they start shrinking. Religious numbers in this country are shrinking. People who profess adherence to a particular belief, go to church a lot. The nuns are growing, and they're growing because the word is getting out. There's a lot of bad information. There's a lot of good information, but it's the dialogue and the constant work, like the work we do here at the ACA, that makes sure that
don't you kind of think like childhood indoctrination is like child abuse and like it's just unacceptable, and we need to do something?
We do, but what? I mean, indoctrination that could mean a lot of different things, right? Indoctrination could mean, oh, I'm going to get my child baptized because I'm Catholic, not me, but and I want my child to grow up in the faith of my forebears. Indoctrination can also mean putting them in some weird robe and shaving their head and making them a little mini cult member. Are we talking about indoctrination of the latter kind, where they are forced into very specific roles without their choice, without their freedom being considered, without their well-being, serving an invisible sky daddy? Or are we talking about, well, we got this culture, we want them to grow up with these certain metaphysical beliefs?
No, I understand what you're saying, and there's definitely a spectrum of like how severe it is. I understand that.
And I think that the majority of people in this country, and probably in the UK as well, would agree that we're against indoctrination into cult behaviors. So maybe what we should do... We've got it much better in England compared to you. Like, I really feel for you in America. Yeah, it sounds like the folks who are the most extreme left to come to us. But I tell you, that's what I think it is. I think we can't force people to abandon their faith. We don't want to force anybody to do anything. We want them to come of their own volition.
I want to force them.
Well, I'm gonna go on the record here, Laura, that Johnny P. Angel does not want to force anybody to abandon their faith. I'd rather have them lay it down and be like, well, these are useless tools, so I'm gonna go pick up some better tools.
Yeah.
You're a liberal.
I don't think we should. Yeah, I don't think we should force anything upon people. That seems to be. If there's one thing we can agree on morally in a lot of cases is the freedom to have your choice in decisions and things like that. And so I'd have to agree with Johnny. I don't see any value in that. I mean, forcing that isn't an honest way to get them to the position. Yeah. See, like, wouldn't you? I'm gonna ask you, Laura. Would you prefer them to have the position just as a meets the ends type of thing, or do you want it like they genuinely come to and have the same kind of liberation that you feel, right? Like, seems to me to be.
I want everybody. I want the world to become all atheists and secular and humanists.
Sure, but by that means wouldn't you prefer a non-forced way of achieving that goal as opposed to a forced way?
Yeah. Do you want to do that at gunpoint, or do you want to do that by the persuasiveness of your arguments?
I want to do it legally with the law. Like I want laws in place that make it unacceptable morally and culturally, and I don't want to gunpoint force them.
Well, but let me ask you this though, because
we have laws about what's acceptable and what's not.
But but the thing is that those laws are prescribed by people who determine these things, right? And sometimes not for good reasons. There's plenty of laws that should not be, right? There's things on Schedule 1 drugs that should not be, right? And so the worry I have though is that when
Laura, hang on a sec. Let's let Mike finish.
The worry I have is that if I make it a law, I'm wondering where that goes, because I could just make it a law that Christianity is illegal or Muslim or Islam or Buddhism, and you could justify that the same way that you would justify it. Just say, well, it would be through the law, but that's still, from my perspective, that's immoral from my perspective, in my framework, to force anybody in that, because you would want them to come to the conclusion, right? You wouldn't want to limit them unnecessarily.
Yeah, can I say this too, Laura and Mike, that ultimately the force of law is force. Ultimately, it comes down to gunpoint. If you really think about it,
can I say, like, you know how, like, we abolished slavery, we gave women the vote, we made abortion legal, in England, we got rid of the death penalty. Right. So, like, we have, like, these morals, which the law, we've done, like, so much with other things. Like, I'm just saying, like, why shouldn't it be that we can do it with this?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're suggesting that much like we can prohibit certain activities that parents can do with their children or to their children, we would do that with indoctrination. Well, I think the danger of that is, let's say in your ideal world, we have a law that says you can't teach certain kinds of information to people until they reach the age of majority, until they reach the age of 18. And that information includes certain religious, metaphysical beliefs, certain like nasty historical Nazi crap, these kind of concepts. Well, that's all fine and dandy if you're on this side of the argument. But then what's to prevent other ideas from getting into those categories of prohibited knowledge? We're seeing that now with critical race theory, with people not wanting certain information made available, the certain aspects of our past, the reality of the way our society has bloomed from its nasty paths. That's some people are trying to take that out of education, take that out of public education. Of course, you can teach your kids whatever you want, but I worry that when we have certain types of speech, certain types of parental actions prevented, there is always a danger of new concepts being tossed in there until finally, when the political winds change, and they will change, that's the one constant, is that politics changed, that we're going to start seeing other things put in there. And today in your world, it's atheism, but tomorrow it could be something else that's preferred. But it looks like we lost Laura. I tell you what, we got to do our patrons. We got to talk about our patrons. Mike, do you want to read off our top 6 patrons?
Something tells me that you know I like reading off a few of the names here. Our top patrons for the week. Actually, there's 6. So we got Eric Tweet, CJ Dennis, Dingleberry Jackson, everybody, Balam's Donkey, Paul Leah, and honorable mention. Sorry, it was cut off. The Great North American Dingaloo. And in respect to everybody there, obviously, but with the names, I'm tied up between Dingleberry Jackson, Balam's Donkey, and Paulia, because that's a good name, right?
Yeah, Paulia is pretty good. Thank you so much for your support. We do appreciate it. It goes to a worthy cause, and more content, right? So we're going to keep on doing that.